Welcome to the Cowgate in the heart of Edinburgh's Old Town, and welcome to the 35th James Connolly Commemoration here in the city's birth. Today, on his birthday, at his birthplace in 107 Cowgate. To get us underway, we'd like to have a little bit of music for a good friend of ours, Jerry Mulvena.
Thanks very much, Tim. As ever, it's a privilege to join you here and sing a couple of songs. I'm going to start with Niall Connolly's song, 12th of May 1916, a song for James Connolly. My father fought for justice, for his people to be free. He was my father first and foremost. I sat on his knee. I remember his voice, the words he said to me. Before my father, he went down in history. Said the mill owner to the factory girls, they'll be singing here no more. The factory girls in unison walked on out the door. You don't tell us when to talk, you don't tell us when to sing. As long as we have voices, our voices will be king. Nora, don't you cry, Nora, don't you cry. I have lived the fullest of lives. Oh, Nora, don't you cry, Nora, don't you cry. I have lived the fullest of lives. At 1 a.m. on May the 12th, a message it was sent. Prisoner Connolly, his wife, eldest daughter, does request Dublin under curfew. Such a strange and sorry sight. Lily, you know, this means goodbye. Oh, Lily, don't you cry. Lily, don't you cry. I have lived the fullest of lives. Oh, Lily, don't you cry. Lily, don't you cry. I have lived the fullest of lives. They carried my wounded father, tied to his final chair. Said, Father Aloysius, for your killers say a prayer. My father fought for justice, for all workers to be free. He said, I pray for all men who must do their duty. Nora, don't you cry. Nora, don't you cry. I have lived the fullest of lives. And Lily, don't you cry. Lily, don't you cry. I have lived the fullest of lives. Said my father to those factory girls, your cause is just and right. It's a battle we won't win, but a battle we must fight. When you go back, held your head up high, sing your song out proud. And it might echo 100 years from now. Lily, don't you cry. Lily, don't you cry. I have lived the fullest of lives. Dora, don't you cry. Dora, don't you cry. I have lived the fullest of lives. Right, this next song is Footsteps of James Connolly, which I think I wrote about a year after the James Connolly Society started. 100 years before I saw the light of morn. In Edinburgh's Cowgate, James Connolly was born. The streets of Little Ireland, you feel them very near. From the Westport to St Mary's Street, you feel them very near. Oh, how I love to walk in the footsteps of young James Connolly. Oh, how I love to walk in the footsteps of that great man. Well, in 1911, to Belfast he came to organise the union, the women and the men. The Orange men and bishops, they were most terrified to see Catholic and Protestant march side by side. Here's to his non-sectarian plan, marching through Belfast for the union's demands. The fife and the drum scorn the old orange tricks, and the ancient Hibernian stones and sticks. Oh, how I love to walk in the footsteps of young James Connolly. Oh, how I love to walk in the footsteps of that great man. Well, the national question was clear in his mind. For an Irish republic, the workers must rise. Revolution was needed, reforms would never do. The number of counties would be 32. Oh, how I love to walk in the footsteps of young James Connolly. Oh, how I in the footsteps of that great man. So if you're walking through the Cowgate this dark and lonely night, remember young James Connolly and keep the flame alight. The social and the national, he swam in both those streams for a socialist republic of Ireland the street. Oh, how I love to walk in the footsteps of young James Connolly. Oh, how I love to walk in the footsteps of that great man. Oh, how I love to walk in the footsteps of young James Connolly. How I love to walk the footsteps of that great man. Thank you. Best of luck.
Excellent, Jerry, as always. Thank you very much. And I'd just like to say thank you, Jerry, and all the performers that we have here and that are going to be playing in just a little while as well. Much appreciated. A big part of the Connolly Society over the years has been about that cultural expression as well within Edinburgh and beyond, and the music for Jerry and the other performers today is a big part of that. As I said at the beginning, this is the 35th annual James Connolly Commemoration here in Edinburgh, and I'm not telling anyone anything they don't already know to say that a lot's changed in 35 years, politically, changed in the city and everywhere else as well, of course. But one of the amazing things about the James Connolly Society is we have been able to change as well. We have been able to adapt our strategy and approach as the conditions on the ground have changed. And we've been able to do that while sticking to our principles and maintaining our political integrity. And none of that is easy, and it all is a struggle and a process that we go through internally. But it's also important, I think, to see what stayed the same. And certain key political positions of the James Connolly Society remain the same today as they did 35 years ago. The key ones to cover, I think, are Ireland, which has caused so much trouble in Edinburgh and so much controversy and discussion. Our position on Ireland remains exactly the same. The James Connolly Society is in favour of a reunification of Ireland. We want to see the Republic that was declared on the steps of the GPO in 1916 re-established. We want to see the principles enshrined in the proclamation carried out in a 32-county republic. And how do we want to see that happen? As we've said many times over the years, we recognise the changed situation in Ireland. We offer solidarity with the risen people of Ireland, and we are in favour and support the campaign for a 32-county all-Ireland referendum on Ireland's constitutional future. The people of Ireland have the right to determine their constitutional future without outside interference or impediment, in exactly the same way as the people of Scotland do or other nations do. And that brings me on to Scotland. The James Connolly Society has always supported Scottish independence. We have always been in favour of the break-up of the UK state. Now, that was not always the case with other groups on the left in the 1980s and 90s, and we welcome the fact that so many of them support it now. But the James Connolly Society's position has always been clear. We support independence for Ireland, independence for Scotland, and we support independence for the working class. We are not into changing flags, we're into changing systems. And the working class must be at the heart of what we do. And how do we want to see that change come about? Because that's the key question for political organisations. How do we make it happen or move towards it? And there, the James Connolly Society has a different approach as well. People always ask us, and one of the big criticisms that we get externally is why do the James Connolly Society not engage more in electoral activity, either supporting independence candidates if we support independence, or why do we not stand our own candidates if we don't like the candidates that are there? Or why do we not join other groups and try and get in the coattails of big political parties and jump on bandwagons of various campaigns? There's a reason we don't do it. Because we do not believe that the SNP or any political party, no matter how big and dominant, is the centre of gravity of political struggle. And we could go further. We do not believe that the political class are the centre of gravity of struggle. The working class are the centre of gravity in our struggle. The people, the masses. And it's towards them that we orientate our activity in the James Connolly Society. I'm always reminded Malcolm X had a fantastic, a really powerful phrase about people who are catching hell. The James Connolly Society stands with people who are catching hell in this society, and in Scotland they're catching hell every day of the week, failed by every level of government. They do not need another political organisation trying to do coattails in government or trying to get themselves standing on a platform with another bundle of suits. So the working class is where you'll find the James Connolly Society. So we have been able to stick to our political principles but adapt our approach as time has went on. And I would encourage everyone to look at the James Connolly Society, look at our model, and if you think there is a need for an independent, anti-fascist, working class organisation founded by working class people, based in working class communities and led by the working class themselves, then you should join the James Connolly Society. And we've been able to make these changes over the 35 years. Why? Because of James Connolly. Because James Connolly is the foundation of everything we do. James Connolly said the freedom of the working class must be the work of the working class. That is the fuel in our engine. That is what gets us up in the morning. That is why we have a different approach to political parties and other political organisations. And I want to thank loads of the members that we have here, the people who are helping with Cowgate Media, but also the members we've had here dealing with the setup and everything else, many of whom have been involved with us for the whole 35 years. And I'd now like to ask a few of them just to come forward with wreaths. We have wreaths to the James Connolly Society, 107 Cowgate and the Connolly Foundation. So if people with wreaths could come forward now, please. Thank you very much. Now, before we go on to the second part, which is going to be the music for a lot of fantastic performers, we've got another live performance here. So I'd like to ask Kevin Gore to come and sing a song that he's penned himself. Kevin.
I'd like to thank the James Connolly Society once again for asking me to come along. Absolute honour. A song called The Freedom Fighter. First I saw the hidden men and the burning crosses. I was a boy back then. White supremacists, they terrorized me. They hung my father from a sycamore tree. So yes, I took the violence and I lived by the sword. Was my way until I found my Lord. Malcolm X, Geronimo, a freedom fighter, Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly. Wherever there's injustice, there'll always be. First they trespassed upon my land, my defense, I took the stance, placed my people in reservations, they suffered death and disease and starvation. When every treaty the white man broke, 300 graves led a revolt. Malcolm X, Geronimo, freedom fighter, Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly. Wherever there's injustice, there'll always be. I'm a freedom fighter, don't be confused. Don't call me a terrorist because I refuse to see my people oppressed and displaced because of their color, their culture, race. I will not be silenced, will not be contained while people suffer for another man's gain. Yes, I drove them from my land with the unjust ways of their king's command. The Longshanks, he sent a vengeful force, 4 times our numbers and heavy horse. On Stirling Bridge, we're routed then as a river ran red with the blood of men. Malcolm X, Geronimo, freedom fighter, Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly. Wherever there's injustice, there'll always be me. With my comrades, I rebelled. I was executed in Palmina jail. For a martyr, I became. I lit the fire, I fueled the flame. For a people's struggle for liberation, free their country. free from foreign occupation. I'm Malcolm X, Geronimo, a freedom fighter, Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly, rebels in justice, Patrick Pearse, Michael Collins, Kevin Barry, Martin McGuinness, Bobby Sands, James Connolly, the rebels in justice, they will always be me, always have me, you will always find me.
Excellent, Kevin, as always, thank you very much. One of the unfortunate things about the pandemic, of course, is that the 35th anniversary, we were not able to bring a lot more people together here in the Cowgray to celebrate Connolly's life, but also just to celebrate 35 years of the James Connolly Society as well. And while there's much could be said about 35 years, and we definitely will at some point say a lot more about all of that, now is probably not the time to do that. I'm not much interested in lapse of honour for previous victories or beating ourselves up about things that haven't went so well, and there's plenty in both columns there. But what I do want to say is a huge thank you to everybody over the whole 35 years who have helped the James Connolly Society. We have many members, as I say, who are here today who have been there for the whole time, but we also, of course, like every other organisation, have had members who have been part of the journey with us, and we really do appreciate that. We appreciate how difficult it's been, how challenging it's been for people, the sacrifices that people have made, particularly in the early 90s with all the difficulties we had, and then going forward in the different ways that we've had to deal with challenges, the state repression and attempts to continuing to disrupt our activity and what have you. I appreciate the sacrifices people have made for the James Connolly Society to make sure that we continue to grow, continue to move forward and continue to celebrate the life of James Connolly. So thank you very much, and hopefully next year we will all be able to gather here in the Cowgate to celebrate Connolly's lives together. I'd now just like to pass on to the second half of today's commemoration, which is going to be some fantastic performers singing some songs which are relevant to Connolly's life and to the ongoing struggles that people are engaged in. So I'd now like to pass over to Stevie Dodds.
How do you do that, folks? Here again for the Connolly Commemoration. Sadly this year again we can't be there. A couple of tunes for me, and hope we'll see you all again soon. A cold May morn was breaking over Dublin's dreary town. 16 brave men fallen against the rifles of the crown, because they loved their country and they served it night and day. But before they faced the rifles, this is what the boys did say: take away the blood-stained bandage from off an Irish brow. We've fought and died for Ireland, and we will not shirk it now. We have held her in her struggle, in an answer to her call. And because we sought to free her, we were placed against the wall. Ned Daly, Houston, Colbert, MacDonough and McBride, McDermott and the brothers Kent, with Clark and Plunkett died. McMallan, Pat and Willie Pearce, O'Hanrahan and Kent, and last of all James Connolly, this message to them sent: take away the blood-stained bandage from off an Irish brow. We've fought and bled for Ireland, and we will not shirk it now. We have held it in her struggle to an answer to her call, and because we sought to free her, we were placed against the wall. Take away the blood-stained bandage from off an Irish brow. We fought and bled for Ireland, and we will not shirk it now. We have held her in her struggle in an answer to her call, and because we sought to free her, we were placed against the wall. Well, there is a page in history where the workers they fought back. The might of exploitation at last began to crack. In farm and field and factory and workshop, mine and rail, where that flame is lit, a beacon bright, that flame is burning still. Connolly was there, Connolly was there, bold, brave, undaunted James Connolly, he was there. Well, William Martin Murphy and his Dublin millionaires tried bravery, corruption, hypocrisy and prayers. Despite the transport union, their scats they did enlist, but the old graph was shattered by that Scarlet Ireland fist. Connolly was there, Connolly was there, bold, brave, undaunted James Connolly, he was there. When the bosses tried to sweat the lads way down on Glasgow's Clyde, a voice like roaring thunder, well, it shook them in their pride. In Liverpool and Belfast, where the worker lives in hell, but Connolly rose and he gave them hope, the story I do tell. Connolly was there, Connolly was there, bold, brave, undaunted James Connolly was there. Well, Irishmen, the day will come when the workers, one and all, will rise up from the bended knee and rally to the call. Throw out the boss's tyranny and shout from shore to shore, from a working man's republic now and freedom evermore. Connolly was there, Connolly was there, oh, brave, undaunted James Connolly was there. Connolly was there, James Connolly was there, oh, brave, undaunted James Connolly was there. Connolly will be there. Connolly will be there. Both brave and daunted, James Connolly will be there. Take care, guys.
Years ago today, the arms race was at an end. If there was a soul alive who could begin to comprehend the suffering to follow, the hell that would transpire when the soldiers were lined up and the men began to fire. 100 years ago today, all around the world, there were hordes of marching men with flags of empire unfurled. And then there was the opposition who wouldn't stay on bended knee, who said, we'll fight for neither king nor Kaiser, neither God nor country. 100 years ago today, the streets were filled to burst with millions of people who said they had no thirst for the blood of other workers who lived across the sea. They said, we'll fight for neither king nor Kaiser, neither God nor country. 100 years ago today, referendums were ignored. Democracy was something no empire could afford. Sedition laws were passed and they filled the penitentiaries. We'll fight for neither king nor Kaiser, neither God nor country. 100 years ago today, executions were at dawn. Bomb blasts filled the air. The battle lines were drawn, the muddy fields were all red. A voice echoed amid the bodies, we'll fight for neither king nor Kaiser, neither God nor country. We'll fight for neither king nor Kaiser, neither God nor country. We'll fight for neither king nor Kaiser, neither God nor country.
Connolly, and it's called The Blackleg. There's a cuckoo in our household, and he terrifies our young, for the habits of the traitor have often been told and sung. Through his feathers flutter softly, there's a murder in his heart, and all down the toiling ages he has played the villain's part. Oh, we hate the cruel tiger, the hyena and the jackal, but the false and dirty blackleg is the vilest beast of all. When we dress our brave battalions and confront the lords of loot, we behold the scarred deserters ere the guns began to shoot. Just to gorge his greedy stomach and to save his coward skin, with salvation in his balance, he betrays his kith and kin. When you tell him, under a mist of 1,000, by his cringe and by his crawl, fear of the dignity of the courage, he possesses none at all. In the ale shop he's a sponger, in the workshop he's a spy. He's a liar and a deceiver with a low, cunning eye. Let us flout him in the market. Let us cut him in the street. Let us jeer from all the places where the honest workers meet. When to his brazen features every decent door is slammed, we will leave him burst and broken to go down amongst the damned. That's it!
On the slopes of the Craigan, one morning in May, 4 lads led the base with argent day,
because it was for freedom. It's a cause London nights, and that foreign oppressor they went to the fight, was patrolling our streets. He met with the foe, and with guns at the ready, our lads had to go. So we'll raise up our hands, and we'll curse that British land, who torment the very hearts of men, who tears across their path. But my heart is broken too. Won't you tell me what to do? They couldn't stop our Georgian pop, and they'll not stop me and you. From the place that fell silent, and the shooting died down, two young lads ain't dead on the streets of our town. It's another two lives lost in this ongoing fight, and the Derry mourns on that fateful night. So we'll raise up our hands, and we'll curse that British land, who torment the very hearts of men, who dare to cross their path. But my heart, it is broken too. Won't you tell me what to do? They couldn't stop our Georgian pop, and they'll not stop me and you. Yo! And so we'll raise up our hands, and we'll curse that British land, who torment the very hearts of men, who dare to cross their path. But my heart, it is broken too. Won't you tell me what to do? They couldn't stop our Georgian pop, and they'll not stop me and you. Now Georgian pop, sure they like cold and stone. They died fighting for Derry, own native home. So always remember, and don't ever forget, that they died fighting for Ireland. We owe them a debt. So we'll raise up our hands, and we'll curse that British land, who torment the very hearts of men, who dare to cross their path. But my heart, it is broken too. Won't you tell me what to do? They couldn't stop our Georgian pop. They couldn't stop our Peggy too. Volunteers of Ireland Dairy Brigade, Hogan a Heron. Okay.
I want you to stand up,
Yeah.
tall and proud.
It's Callum.
I want you to speak up clear and loud.
Let's go.
Brown babe.
You know it don't make sense how we gotta make pence. Just trying to survive, just trying to make rent, just trying to make ends meet. It's a hard struggle, some are graft, some are hustle, some gamble, they all attempt to make the money double. It's a damn shame, some get lost in the game, end up in chains, and the ones who don't are up in the morning. Fuck, I'm still yawning, we stay conforming, clocking in and out daily. Yeah, I'm going crazy, losing patience, this hate is contagious. System so outrageous, all of it outdated, born out of feudalism. Come and listen, we were searched for the Lord that we serve, not a handful of earth that we own, but we were proud the fields, man, and hills. But what was it worth? Not a damn thing, my brother. We were less than human, we were despised. So we were only taught history for their eyes is riddled with lies, capitalize of our demise. And fuck the king and queen, the bloodline don't be shit to me. Republican, I'm proud to be, can't be free with monarchy. Spirit of John McClane, I'm taking aim at the profiteers of misery, causing the pain. Yo, Labour or Tory, same fucking story. I don't give a fuck about them, man, they bore me. All of them are killers, all of them are blood spillers. Libya to errands, all of them complicit in it. Like James Connolly, I know my priority. Fuck the Union Jack that represents the monarchy. Family of invaders, vampires, land takers, legion of the working class for their lawmakers. It's outrageous. State apparatus, killing off our martyrs. God, they're so heartless. Grenfell Tower got me feeling sour. So many lives lost, got those with the power. That shit was murder, ain't no doubt about it. Social cleansing, read all about it. Just another headline, families on the breadline. Lost generation, finding ways just to waste time. Shit's so fucked right now. Youths carry tools that'll lick a man down. Shit's kinda foul when you're scarce of some pounds. Living in a town when you get sucked for an ounce, where there's no hope for a house. Feeling kinda different lately, crazy and my thinking's hazy. Maybe, but that shit don't faze me lately. I've been thinking greatly. Fuck the state authority, you know that shit don't bother me. I'ma spit the truth even if they don't acknowledge me. Dominic behind a rap, only spitting facts. I'm the bard of this era, so your man just best relax. Bye. On to the next one now. Listen. Yo, Lowe's told me go in, so I'ma get started. That ain't your average artist, my brother, I'm a Marxist. Working towards targets, trying to reach the masses. Not for the money or fame, but food for your brain. You might be okay, but most are living in pain. Barely getting by, slowly growing insane. This shit needs to change, we need to rearrange. Find another path before it's too late. Listen, I grew up a fucking screw up, but unlike Biggie, I never blew up. Stuck in the same rut, but I don't give a fuck. I'ma carry on still, I'ma persevere through my art and my own will. Been spitting fire, got the heat that you desire. Don't rate me, you're a liar, I'm aiming to inspire. Come from a small town, but don't get it twisted. Witness many fuckeries, plenty devil business. Never been a bad man, but been around badness. Been a madness, looking back I've had a couple close calls. Been snaked a couple times, I guess it's kinda mental. Crazy residential, even days we went school. We were getting chased by police with drawers in us up, we'd laugh when they'd let us off the parks where we go cool off many years ago. Now I got different goals. I grew up, got clued up, got on with working. I'm certain my past provided me with vital learning. As the world's turning, it's knowledge that I'm earning. A Carter said it best, knowledge is power to devour all the false arguments they tower. Never trust a politician, never trust a fed. You know how the song goes, in farm I feed dead.
Hey, bye, bye, bye.
But if I saw James Connolly's ghost in the Connolly last night, some follow to Stephen Law's close, We disappeared out of sight. I searched around stone-cobbled streets, but I never saw anymore. So to myself, in the same stone steps, but James Connolly had before. If I hear James Connolly's voice, and remember it was just last year. Oh, still the nights, no other noise, but a sound so strong and clear. He called the name I heard him speak, and his voice it shook the branches of the trees. And I'm running away to that midsummer night, shot a silver in his sweet. You can talk in New York City. I remember when I started teeth, but before the castle and the levee, James Connolly made a mark for you. And Connolly spits and Guillette's in every lane and street. From Castle Hill to Parliament Square, and a decade of fiery speech. And when you hear that thunder crack, that's Connolly's voice and roar. So take a walk down the city's little steps, and James Connolly had before. You can talk in New York City. I remember when we started teeth, but before the Hudson and the levee, James Connolly made a mark for you. In Dublin City in 1913, the boss was rich and the poor was slaves. The women working and children starving, their knocking laughing like a mighty wave. The workers cringed when the bossman thundered, 70 hours was a weekly chore. He's getting little and less was plenty, that's getting little, he'd ask for more. In the month of August, the bossman told us no union men for him could work. We stood by larking and told the bossman we'd fight or die, but we wouldn't shirk. It must be fought and it must be starved. We stood by larking through the winter. The numerous homes and the crying of children, it broke our hearts, we just couldn't win. The working left as we seemed defeated, the night was black for the working man. They don't him Connolly with the open council, his puzzle was that we praise again. In Dublin City the voice of justice, the voice of reason. He gave his life that man might be free.
Fantastic as always for the Wakes. Thank you very much. Thanks to the Wakes, thanks to all the performers who have performed today at this James Connolly Commemoration. It is much appreciated. Their support today and throughout the 35 years has been absolutely invaluable in building the type of community spirit that is absolutely the core of what the James Connolly Society is all about. Thank you to the Cowgate media team. Thank you to everyone who's been here in the Cowgate dealing with the setup, security, the reflaying. Thanks to all the organisations who have helped us in the run-up with this as well. Much appreciated. I look forward to seeing all of you next year in the Cowgate to celebrate the life of the great James Connolly.